this was the very last debate of today's program of the Prague European Summit. And it's time to conclude this program with final words from organizers. And right now I would like to invite to the stage Martin Vokálek, Executive Director of the EUROPEUM Institute for European Policy. Martin, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. It is my pleasure to speak to you once again, having the privilege to close this year's Prague European Summit, which was the 10th edition of our conference. In the last 2 days, you had a chance to hear several different keynote speeches and participate in 5 side discussions and roundtables, as well as in 9 panels, including the chat with our representatives of the Futures European Leaders Forum, which symbolizes our commitment to the next generation. The conference provided many interesting topics, guests and quotes, so let me summarize a few of the key moments that we had a chance to experience. First and foremost, we were honored to welcome Her Excellency Zuzana Čaputová, the President of Slovak Republic, and bestow her with our Vision for Europe Award. The time the President spent in the office embodies the values of the award, and we are glad that we got a chance to highlight it, that she got a chance to highlight it during her speech and her last official visit to Czechia. We are also glad for the several interventions of Minister Jan Lipavský, who underlined our focus on the support of Ukraine and the need for continuous discussions about the European affairs. Vice President of the European Commission and a laureate of the Vision for Europe Award, Věra Jourová, once again stressed the need for dialogue during the challenging time we are facing. With the European competitiveness at the forefront of pan-European discussions, we have welcomed the strategies forward laid our Minister Josef Síkela and also the Executive Vice President of the European Commission, Valdis Dombrovskis, in his video message. The future of Europe cannot be talked about without the questions of the enlargement. So the interventions of Martin Dvořák, the Minister of European Affairs of Czechia, and all distinguished panelists here were a good signal and showed us just how much important it is. Also, the future of the European Union and its direction in the upcoming 5 years were among other key topics of this year's Prague European Summit. We discussed the future of Western support for Ukraine and the essential role of the EU strategy towards Russia. We also debated the global trade and how the EU can resist protectionism among growing dependencies. We considered energy security and whether or not the EU should rethink its green transition strategy. And we finished a timely discussion about the future of the defense in Europe. I dare to say that all of you discussed those and many more topics in various formats and also during networking and other events connected to the Prague European Summit, including the yesterday's screening of the movie 20 Days in Mariupol, and it was you who made the heart of this conference. Thus, it is my pleasure to say that this year we have welcomed more than 400 unique guests and participants and several dozens more with the delegations of our panelists or our dear colleagues from the MFA who were hosting us here in those 2 days. Our conference was a true melting pot of ideas and perspectives as our guests represented various sectors, with 36% from the governmental sector, 40% from the NGOs, and 40% from academia. We also had a significant number of participants from the media, businesses, and importantly also from students and wider public. This diverse representation is a testament to the inclusivity and relevance of our conference. 43% of this year's participants were women, and 65% were originally from countries other than Czechia, bringing together perspectives from an unbelievable 54 different countries here to Prague. This truly makes this conference a unique international event, and we certainly hope that it was an inspiring and contributing session and a platform for constructive and engaging discussions about the EU and the current EU topics and our future. Thus, I want to thank you all for your contribution and participation, and I would like to welcome Braun, the Director of IIR, to give his final remarks. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Dear all, thank you very much for being here with us at the Prague European Summit. I promise I will be brief. I'm a final speaker, and thereafter we will have a glass of wine. We have focused the program of this conference on the EU's strategic agenda. As you know, the strategic agenda is for the upcoming, is setting the priorities for the upcoming 5 years. This is also the 10th Prague European Summit, so it's our 10 years anniversary. And if we think back on these last 10 years, the last decade, I think what we can conclude is always to expect the unexpected. So when we speak about priorities for the next 5 years, we should be fairly aware and prepare ourselves that something else might come up, which of course is just to stress the need even more so to focus on the discussions, examination of different positions, to be as well prepared as ever possible for what can happen in the future. I mean, the last decade has often been described as a decade of polycrisis for the European Union, the so-called migration crisis, climate crisis, and of course the pandemic crisis, and obviously Russia's aggressions in Ukraine, ongoing for the entire decade, but with increased intensity after the full-scale invasion began 2 years ago. In this context, I would just like to say that we have been discussing with my partner here, Martin Vokálek from EUROPEUM, the future of the Prague European Summit. And we do both strongly believe that there is a need on an annual basis at the highest possible level to have a conference that focuses on European Union affairs. So we would like to try to bring this form of cooperation further, with some revisions, with some updates, with some innovations, but we would like to continue doing something on EU affairs in these lines also in the future. So we hope we will be able to do so, and we look forward to that. Before I finish, I have a long list of institutions and names in front of me that I would like to express all gratitude to. And it's a long list, which is a good thing, because it means that we have a lot of people who have been involved in supporting us at this particular event. So there may be, for a short while, I will put on my glasses to be able to read, not to forget anyone. First of all, I would like to mention our president, the president of the Czech Republic, Petr Pavel, who kindly bestowed auspices for the Prague European Summit. I would also like to express my gratitude, all gratitude, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Czech Republic for supporting us and for allowing us to be here in the building. We'll also like to thank the International Visegrad Fund, the European Commission representation in the Czech Republic, the Office of the Government of the Czech Republic, Hans Seidel Stiftung, the Ministry of Industry and Trade of the Czech Republic. I would also like to mention our main partners, Saga Prague, Hospodářské noviny, Radio Free Europe, some other media partners, including Aktuálne.cz, Respect, Český rozhlas, Econom, NE Global, Euractiv, and also other partners, Confederation of Industry of the Czech Republic, the organization People in Need, Brains Immersive, Crystal Bohemia, and also the British Embassy in Prague for supporting our future European Leaders Forum. And I would, of course, also like to mention and express my gratitude to all the speakers, moderators being involved, and the teams of the Institute of International Relations and of EUROPEUM. In total, some 45 people have been involved in preparing this event. I will not mention everyone by name, it would be impossible, but I want to express our gratitude for you doing a fantastic job, which has made all these possible. I would only like to mention 2 names at the end. I would like to mention a thank you to Anna Rosipal-Pajerova for all her works with the Prague European Summit, and also to the General Manager of this year's Prague European Summit, Kristina Chlebakova. Thank you very much for all your work with this year's Prague European Summit. Having said this, I would like to welcome you all for a glass of wine, which is being served outside in the garden, is it? It's outside in the garden, so please, I hope you all will find your way there. Thank you very much.